Out There Somewhere is a little game that came out by some company called Mini Boss that I'd never heard of, but was like $2 on Steam. And I had $2 sitting in my Steambucks account from when I sold off all those little cards that Steam generates when you play games. And I don't know why those cards exist, but they do, and other people want to buy them for real money, and they give me like 5 or 12 or 7 cents for each one. And it accumulated to the point where I had like $2, and Out There Somewhere was $2, and I said, that's a cool little looking game. I'm going to spend the $2 that I didn't really earn on that. And so here it is. Now I'm playing it for you. It's actually a fun little platformer game that starts out as a fun little shooter game, and the shooting part is actually not that fun, but it's mercifully short, so we're also going to skip all of the dialogue and story in this game, which is totally worthless and pointless. I just wanted to do a short little let's play for you guys, and you know, this is the game to do it with. I actually streamed this game totally blind and finished it in about 2 hours. So we shouldn't have nearly that much time in the game. What I really is going to stick with me, though, the really memorable thing in this game that's going to be with me forever is, like all games, you can get little optional pickups, right, throughout the game. You find them in the world, and if you get all of them, you get like a bonus thing at the end. You know, the typical platform puzzle collectathon kind of thing. Kind of like how Grand Theft Auto has secret secret packages. Remember back in the day, Grand Theft Auto had secret packages. Metal Gear Solid 3 has little frogs. There's only 11 in this game, because it's a really short game. And I found 10 of them. And I knew where the 11th was, because the game shows you where the 11th is, and is like, haha, look what you can't get. And my first thought was, okay, I'm going to go restart the game from the beginning, and I'm going to figure out how to get it. So I'm on stream, and I'm trying to figure out how to get this thing, and for the life of me, I guess we just blew up. For the life of me, we couldn't figure out how to get it. And so I eventually gave up, moved on to another game. But I went back to Out There Somewhere, because I'm like, I've got to figure out how to get this. I've got to figure out how to get it, or else it's going to drive me crazy. And then I figured it out, and it's one of the most devious, evil things in a game that I've seen in a long time. So I really want to share it with you guys. And unfortunately, I can't just show it to you when it comes up. I've got to spoil it up front. That's just the nature of the thing. See, here's how it works. This is my little man. This is good old Spaceman Fred here, and he's got a gun that teleports him across the map like that. So, the whole game is based around these little puzzles of teleporting, right? And if you're, you put some dexterity to it, you can do little puzzles like this, where you can teleport and then jump out of your teleport to reach high platforms. But that's about the extent of the game's gameplay. Later on, we'll unlock a gun that will let us blow up these bricks here. So you go through this whole game world, it takes a couple of hours, and you get to the end, and you fight a boss, and he's the only boss in the game, and you kill him. And then the next screen over, you find out, oh, it's a wraparound world. I'm actually one screen to the left of the crash site, and on that screen is sitting one of the collectibles. Except now you can't reach it. You have to come through this wall to get it. So let me kind of go through the game, and we'll explain why that drove me banana sandwich for so long. I don't know what Spaceman Fred's name is supposed to be, because I skip all the story sequences in this game, because I really don't care at all about the story in this game. It was not very memorable to me the first time I played it. One of the quaint things that I really like about this game, actually, is every individual screen has a name. You look at the top of the screen, like this one's the lava pits, and like every screen in the game has a name like that, like a quaint Commodore 64 kind of thing. So you see here, backtracking is a no-go, because once we get to this point, there's no way to return from whence we came. So how are we supposed to get back to that screen once we get a power-up later? The first thing I want to do is show you kind of how deviously some of the secrets are hidden. Like this screen here. Did you blink and miss it? Alright, let me go through it and kind of explain what I'm doing. What I'm doing here is shooting my teleport gun at the top of my jump to reach as high up at that platform as I can. But I'm shooting it just as I start to fall, so I land on the ground before I teleport. What that lets me do is jump from the ground, and that momentum of my jump carries forward even after I teleport. If I can demonstrate that correctly for you now. Like that, and that gets me up this screen. That's a trick you have to use later on in the game in order to advanced, but it's something the game doesn't teach you until after you get to a point where you can't backtrack to this strange entrance screen. The idea being that you find things on your second path through the game that you did not find on your first. And that's a big theme of this game, okay? I really like that kind of game design. It's one of the things that made me fall in love with Super Metroid, is how much of that game you discover only on your second path through. Because the first pass through the game really only gives you enough context to understand the second path. And here you'll see I'll use the same momentum trick to get me up to this secret cliff, and then up to this next pickup. So there's 11 of these pickups in the game, plus 3 health pickups, plus 2 gun upgrades that we'll get. And that's pretty much our lot for out there somewhere. Down there you can see a pickup that we can't reach from this screen, but we'll be able to reach from this one. But before we do that, we need to... Let's see if I can get this on my first try. So like really early on, I discovered, oh, so climbing up the tops of the screens, trying to reach every as much vertical height on every screen as possible, that's not going to do it. That's going to be how we find a lot of the hidden stuff in the game, right? And sure enough, most of the hidden stuff in the game is like that, except for the one that I showed you. Come on, can I get up here, please? There we go. And it looks like the game is built out of squares. Like it looks like it's built out of square tiles, but it's actually not. Because you see, if I fire from here, that bullet's too low to get me the height that I need to get up to that health upgrade. I actually have to put this bullet right there. Ah, that was a little too late. But I've got to put it at the top end of that square so I can get enough height to make the next jump. So there's a little more finesse involved in these teleportation puzzles than it looks like at first. Which I appreciate. How many more tries is this going to take, Brickroad? Well, I'm going to do a whole video of just this screen, if at all possible. Let's see. There we go. That looks right. And indeed it is. So we're good here now. So now we have 2 hearts. Good times. So we can't shoot these red walls. These red walls block our beams. We cannot teleport through them. We just got to do the best we can here. And then later on there will be green beams and blue beams, which each have their own little quirks. So it's not a long game. There's these little kind of tutorial areas. Like right here we're learning about the momentum jump that I explained. Long after it becomes... Like now if you try to backtrack and use that momentum jump, you won't be able to. There's nowhere you can go now. Because every few screens you pass a point of no return and you cannot go backwards from that way. And at the end of the game, there's no way to just explore the whole world. Even though it's a wraparound world, even though the end screen of the game brings you back around to the first screen of the game, it just shuffles you off to an end game sequence. You're not allowed to actually go back and explore anything. That was a big problem in like Super Metroid, for example, when you got past the point of no return and couldn't explore anymore. But in this game, it's so short, it doesn't actually matter. So we got these blue beams now, which block our shots like the red ones, but teleport us to them. So it's less of an issue. Let me think here for a second. I can't get the pickup down in the junkyard yet. I just need to... There's a couple pickups I can get from the top of the junkyard, and there's a really sweet... shortcut that I'd like to show off. Because you're supposed to go over this way, and this is before the city, and you drop down that hole there, and down in the pit is the next level of the game, but we're not going to do that just yet. First of all, we got to go up, because there's, of course, the game... Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Of course, the game always hides its little pickups up top. Which, I mean, it's a good thing that the game is kind of predictable with where some of its pickups are hidden. It kind of gives the game some consistency to it, which is a good thing. So now, we definitely want to go down. and then over here. And then this screen. And now we get to the part of the game where I might not remember all the puzzles, so please bear with me, children. Except this puzzle was fine. I got through that one just fine. So now, there's the second of 3 health grades. So you see, the game's not very long, because I said there's 11 of the red little, just generic pickups, and then... Do I want to go down here? I think I do. Yeah, I wanted to do that. There's just 11 of those little generic pickups and 3 of the health upgrades. You see we've collected quite a few of those already. So now let's do this cool little shortcut, which I thought I was really super clever with finding the first time I did it, but then the game gave me an achievement for collecting it, so it was something the developers knew about and intended, which kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit. So if we jump from here, we land up top here, and we can just skip that whole section of the game. Yeehaw! Then we can go over here, and now we're in the alien city, which is right where we want to be. Because now that we're in the alien city, we can go under this house. A little NPC tells you to go. There's a secret passage under the house, right? And then, I'm not talking to the NPCs, because again, the dialogue in this game is pointless. But this gets us our Gauss gun, which is a gun that breaks things. Woo! So now we can actually fight monsters and break blocks, even though we're halfway through the game at this point. So this is the power-up we need. Do I want to go up here? I think I do, actually. I think I want to go up here and get a thing. Yes, over here is the weird island that has a pickup on it. Okay, now here's the screen. I figured out what to do to get that first early game pickup, and then I screwed it up by doing this. So you're going to shoot over here, and then you have to jump across the screen. And I'll explain why I did that in a few minutes. But first we're going to get the last health pickup, and then we're going to jump in the lava. And now we're dead, which warped us all the way back to the crash site. The reason it did that is because I've been avoiding all of the save points in the game. I jumped over every one to there. So killing ourselves there brings us back to the crash site, but we still have our Gauss gun, which lets us collect that. So this is actually the last screen in the game. Over on the far left, you'll see a little tunnel with a save point. You come out of there, and you see this thing here. You're like, oh, we're going to pick up that. But no, you walk to the right one screen, and oh, it's your ship. And as soon as you see your ship, it whisks you off to the endgame sequence, so you don't actually get a chance to collect that. When I figured out how to get this thing, it was so devious. I thought it was incredibly evil, which made me love it a lot. So, shoutouts to Graham Atkins, who sponsored this video, and to everybody who makes my channel possible by supporting me on Patreon.